Coach, it seemed like Coach Chisholm really called that your unit this week, saying that they have to step up, and said that I think the consistency level wasn't acceptable. But what say you?
This week, it's not the only week, every week. But, you know, I go back and look at all of them. They've had one drop in the game. And that's where it matters. I want them performing when the lights come on. So I'm always going to make it tough in practice. And, you know, and then it's a lot of things together. They've got to produce, too. You know, anytime you get an opportunity to make a play, you got to take advantage of that. And that's what I'm emphasizing. But not just running routes, not just catching balls, blocking, finishing plays, all those things. And it's a young group, but they're getting better. They're getting better.
Has it been a learning experience for a guy like Sammy that he talked about? It really bugged him, the idea that he makes that catch against LSU. It's a completely different game. You even mentioned maybe it lost him. Has that been something for him to learn?
Absolutely, but it's kind of like baseball. You can't let that play beat you twice. And I want him to learn from that, and I want him to understand on offense, there's going to be 4 or 5 plays in this SEC that make the difference in the game. And you never know when that play is, so you got to take advantage of every opportunity that you get, and that's something that Sammy, as a young player, has to understand. You know, Emery's only got a few games left. Sammy's looking at it as I got 2 or 3 years left, and it's not the same when you're in Emery's shoes as it is for Sammy. But every player, when he steps between those white lines, has to learn to compete and be physical in everything that he does, and that's the learning curve for him. But he's getting better. He's getting better. I think us as a whole. I like that Coach is putting that type of pressure on him, because when you do it in practice, it makes it that much easier in a game, because you try to simulate as much as you can. Obviously, it's not 90,000, so that's hard to emulate in practice.
Has Emery been more vocal than normal, less so, or about the same?
Been a little bit more vocal because there's been more drops, and so you know, and he's not going to sit there because I do it like my mom did. When you drop one, everybody does up downs. And so he's doing up downs for guys that are dropping balls that he thinks should have been called. And the emphasis on doing your job, no matter what the play asks you to do, your responsibility to take care of your job. Don't try to do more than you're supposed to, or do somebody else's job. Take care of yours. And some of those guys are learning to have to deal with that, and it's been tough. But again, I want it that way in practice.
Trevor, do you know who will take Quan's spot?
Oh, we're going to do it by committee. I mean, it's really going to be guys. You got Trevon, you'll see Ricardo Lewis, you'll see even Sammy will be kicked down inside some, based off the formation. We'll do that way, but and I tell everybody, it's just an opportunity for somebody to step up and make some plays, because obviously Quan did do that for us. He had made some catches. He and Emery were probably the top 2 leading receivers in that room. It's just a window of opportunity for another guy.
How important is route running at that slot position? You got to get over it.
It is huge. You know, inside there it's a different world, because you're working off linebackers, strong safeties, as opposed to corners, and having to read different coaches, and sometimes different teams will drop a defensive end, and so you really have to be physical in that. Obviously in the slot, and so your routes being precise, timing-wise, could be the difference in the ball being tipped up and getting intercepted. Because in this league, you tip a ball up, it's going to get picked. There's no question about it. So that's huge. And then think about his blocking assignments. Now you're matched up on a Sam or a Will or a strong safety as opposed to a corner. So that guy also has to be physical enough to maintain and sustain his blocks too.
Well, Coach Chisholm said something like he did Tuesday, that the receivers have to step up and make more plays, be more consistent. As a position coach, how do you react to that?
He's the boss. I do what he tells me to do, or somebody else will be sitting in this chair. It's that simple. And I know Coach Chisholm. He's going to tell you exactly how it is. There's not going to be any gray in it. There's no doubt that he'll make sure that the job's getting done. And as a coach, you love that. I don't want him to tell me I'm doing a good job and I'm not. I want these guys to work hard. I want them to continue to get better. And I think everybody at some point in time, needs that type of encouragement or pride or whatever you want. Now it's different. If he tells me that and I go out there and work harder, then that means I was cheating him before. I haven't changed the approach that I've taken with these guys at all. The deal is to try to make sure that I simplify it and make it easy. Simple for who? Not for me, for these guys. If they understand a new offense and where they are and what the demands are for them in this offense. And that's something that we continue to work on. But I mean, I didn't bat an eye because he's right.
When you hear that, you kind of go back, evaluate everything, all your messages you've given them, make sure that
Absolutely.
really is kind of sinking in with them.
Absolutely, and not just what I'm telling them. You know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, as most people say. But you get out there and you show them on tape what we're talking about, and then you also show them how it correlates to what you do in practice. All those things. I want them to practice to win, not practice to lose. And for them, learning how to compete every time you step out there, every time, not just on the first play, then you get to the 5th play, and I know I'm what I call chum, you know, a route that's just clearing for somebody else, that you're not going to get the ball. I need to run that route the same as I would if I was going to get it. And that's where they have to mature, where they have to be unselfish and do their job. Whatever the play calls for that time, if it's not for you to touch it, your route needs to be full speed. And obviously, if it is for you to get it, that route needs to be full speed. It can't be based off whether I'm getting it or not. So, but again, it was right on point, and the proof's in the pudding. You know, and for my guys, here's what everybody needs to understand. For them, it is based off productivity on plays and who's going in now. Because if they're not producing, you got to go to the next guy. And hopefully that competition in the room and what we're asking them to feel is going to help them get better.
I'm sure you've had probably the most interaction with Quan among anybody in the coaching staff. What has that been like since last week?
He's just been working. I mean, he's obviously very sympathetic on that, but you know he made a mistake. Kids are gonna make mistakes. You know, I tell people all the time, I don't love family in slices. Take them just like they are. It's my job, my responsibility to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes over. And he made a mistake. He's paying for that mistake dearly, and I think that's sending a message to the rest of the team as well. So we got to continue on that pace. But he is obviously very remorseful, and he's paying a horrific price, in my opinion. Am I good? Thank you all.